What's up guys? Today we have a tier list video and I'm not sure if you can see the little screen recorder here, but that's what I'm using today because I don't usually make videos that aren't actually on Pokemon Unite. But today we're doing a tier list because tier lists are fun to make and I enjoy doing them. So before we get into it, just know that I am sick. I've probably said that in 4 videos now, but it's true. I'm sick. And yeah, so here we have a tier list video. We have every single Pokemon inside of Pokemon Unite up to Miraidon. So this is in Season 18. I think this season ends in like 5 days. Pretty excited. We are going to be getting a balance patch soon. So not really sure how that balance patch will affect the tier list I'm making today. But yeah, before we get into it, just know that if I put your main in F tier, then doesn't necessarily mean that Pokemon is just really, really bad, so much as it means like, that's just where the Pokemon stands at a amateur rank player. So like, if I were to pick up any of these Pokemon, like, would I be able to be good with them, or are they just so bad that, you know, I would have to play them for a really long time before I can actually pick them up, actually. So, looks like we're starting with the supporters. First off, we have Blissey. So, Blissey is a very, very interesting Pokemon here. It's definitely somewhere between A tier and S tier. Currently, I think it's a really, really good support, but recently it got nerfed. And honestly, I think that nerfs probably brought it down to A tier. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like Blissey is definitely a solid A tier. Very, very high in A tier, but, you know, not S tier quite. Also, I'm not going to be putting these in any order. If they're C tier, I'm just going to throw them in C tier. I'm not going to put them, like, better than anyone else. They're just, if they're F tier, they're F tier. If they're C tier, B, A, S, and then there's the EX tier. Speaking of EX tier, we can go ahead and throw some of these EX Pokemon up there, because they don't count. Where's Mewtwo X? There he is. You can't hide Mewtwo X. Me. Alright, so next up we have Clefable. Clefable right now is a really, really good counter to a lot of speedsters with its gravity. But I think it's still solid A tier. It's probably up there with Blissey. Just not quite S, but like really close. I feel like that's where a lot of these supporters are going to be. Next up we have Comfey. It's an easy S tier. Comfey can heal, like, anything. Like, literally, that's its job, is to just attach to its teammates and heal them, which is absolutely disgusting, especially against, like, most frail Pokemon that do a lot of damage, such as, like, Zoroark. Comfey on Zoroark is easily, like, one of the nastiest comps ever, because on a squishy Pokemon, that's basically its way of being not the most broken Pokemon in the game is by being frail, and Comfey basically just takes that away. So Comfey is an easy S tier. I think another S tier, definitely Eldegoss. Eldegoss is definitely an S tier Pokemon, just because of the fact that, you know, it has like one of the highest win rates in the game right now. It can heal itself, it can heal its teammates. It can do crazy damage. It can steal Ray really well with its Unite move. It's just overall like a really, really, really good Pokemon right now. Next up we have Hoopa, another S tier. A lot of these supporters I think are going to be A S tier. I don't think anyone, well, maybe Sableye, but I don't think anyone else is going to be lower than that. Hoopa is an S tier because not only can you send your teammates back to base to heal completely in the middle of a fight, but you can, like, warp your teammates into fights, which is just crazy. Like, you're trying to get Ray, you can use that Hoopa Unbound Unite move, create a portal for your teammates to just warp into battle, and just start going crazy. Hoopa's definitely an S tier. Next up, we have Mr. Mime. Definitely sitting at an A tier right now. Pain Split just does, or not Pain Split, Power Swap just does like so much. Not only does it do like so much damage over time, similar to Azu's Whirlpool, but if you combine it with something like Psychic, or if you use it on your teammate or an objective, it's just a really, really, really good move. Next, we have Sableye. I think Sableye is a safe. I don't know. I want to put it C tier, but I think it's B tier. I don't know. It's really weird because it's not like the best Pokemon, especially as a supporter, because most supporters' jobs are to heal your team. Sableye just kind of walks around doing stuff. I think it's probably a C tier. It's really, really close to B tier. Like, just put it like in the middle right here. This is where Sableye is. But I think it's closer to C tier just because it's like a really, really hard Pokemon to actually be good with. So I think its base kit, like, you know, like it's probably just like a C tier. Next up is Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff is really, really good inside of the meta right now, especially since I play mostly speed tier Pokemon. It absolutely shuts down anything with like the slightest amount of dive. So I think it's probably A tier. It's really, really good, but I feel like it's not amazing against anything that's not a speedster. Yeah, so I think it's probably A tier. Its stuns with Sting are still really good. They're just better against like one specific kind of Pokemon. Next up, we have Aegislash, and moving into the all-rounders is going to be really interesting, especially featuring there's so many of them. I'm going to try to make this video relatively quick because there's like 60 Pokemon. But yeah, so Aegislash currently, I feel like it's okay. I picked up Aegislash probably like 3 months ago, and it felt pretty solid, but at the same time, it didn't. It feels like some games I was doing really, really good with it, and some games I just wasn't. I think it's probably a good B tier. I wouldn't even say it's really close to A tier. I think it's just in B tier. It's pretty good. It's just not like the best, you know? So I think it's definitely a B tier Pokemon right now. Azumarill is really, really powerful. I think it's definitely an A tier. I recently I recorded a Azumarill video where I played Playrough on Azumarill. Playrough Whirlpool just has to be one of the best builds on Azumarill. I mean, Water Pulse and the other move, Aqua Tail, really, really good. But Whirlpool, Playrough, you can just win almost any fight you get into. Any 1v1 or 1v2 is an easy win, especially if you play a more defensive build. Blaziken is S tier. Blaziken is one of those Pokemon that it's really, really hard to pick up, but it's really, really powerful. Like, the way you can switch between kits and, like, just, it's got one of the best secures. It has really, really good, damage, so you can just, I don't even really know what to say anymore. Blaziken's broken. Buzzwole, unfortunately, is S tier. It's extremely, extremely broken. I mean, you can just throw things around and kill them, and they just die. Like, if you get into any 1v1 with Buzzwole, you lose. Like, there's almost no chance you win. Especially if it is playing Leech Life, you can just heal in the middle of a fight. Like, just grab a dude, suck the life out of them, and then continue to throw things around. It's pretty nasty. Charizard, I think, is a solid C tier right now. I would love to put it in B tier, but it's just not that high. It's really good. I mean, it's not really good, but it's good. It's just, at the same time, it sucks. It definitely needs some buffs. With this balance patch coming up, I think everyone is hoping for some Charizard buffs. Then we have Dragonite. Dragonite, I think, is sitting at a solid A, really close to S, but I think it's in A tier right now. Just because, I mean, it's alright, but it's solely relying on auto attacks, because I think the best build is probably Dragon Dance Outrage on it. Hyper Beam is okay, but it's not as good as it used to be. But right now, I think Outrage is the better build. It's auto attack heavy, basically, with that Outrage build. It's pretty okay. I mean, it's really broken, but I think it's just A tier. Like, something about it just doesn't really put it all the way up to S, especially when you look at, like, what the other S tier Pokemon are. I think it fits pretty well in A tier. For Garchomp, I think it's probably a B tier. It's another one of those auto-attacking dragon types, which I feel like there's a lot of. Well, maybe not dragon types, but like dragon-like Pokemon. It's really strong. A lot of people have been bringing it into competitive tournaments here recently. In London, then I saw quite a few people playing Garchomp, and I just thought it was kind of cool because I feel like Garchomp never really got that attention, and out of nowhere, people just kind of started picking it up, which I kind of like. That's kind of cool. Next up, we have Gyarados. Gyarados is sitting at a C tier right now. It's alright, but not only is its kit, like, kind of bad, but it's just, like, it takes forever to evolve, which I guess is kind of like its gimmick, but, like, for something that takes that long to get to evolve, you should at least be getting more out of it. Aqua Tail is okay. I think it needs some buffs, though. Maybe some range buffs. Gyarados is just sitting at a C tier. It's not doing so well right now. Then we have Lucario. Lucario is interesting because it can be B tier, A tier, S tier. My skill level playing Lucario is probably like B tier. I'm horrible at playing Lucario. But anyone who actually plays Lucario, like, or mains them, is instantly going to be an S tier. But if you're between, you play Lucario, but you don't play Lucario, and you don't not play Lucario, you're going to be at an A tier. But I think the middle of the road, that's kind of what we're aiming for with this tier list. Because, I mean, all of these Pokemon are absolutely broken if you actually learn how to use them and play them. But I feel like this build, or not this build, but Lucario is just... So I keep getting distracted and losing what I'm saying. Lucario is an A tier. I'm going to shut up before I say more random stuff. Next up, we have Machamp. Machamp is doing pretty okay in the meta right now, but I don't know if it's B tier or C tier. I mean, compared to Aegislash and Garchomp, I think it's definitely C tier. It's okay, it's just not all the way there. It's similar to, like, Gyarados or Aegislash. It's, like, almost there, but just not quite. Love to see some Machamp buffs in this next patch. Next up, we have Metagross. Metagross is really, really powerful right now. I honestly think it might be S tier. Its Meteor Mash, like, allows you to, like, heal, and then, like, everything else just destroys you. Its Unite move, Compute and Crush, like, will follow you and then trap you, and then you can just Meteor Mash and destroy everything. It's absolutely disgusting. You know what? Unfortunately, Mimikyu's F tier. No, unfortunately, it's a S tier. I absolutely despise Mimikyu. It might currently be my least favorite Pokemon in the game. It's absolutely disgustingly broken. It rips things extremely fast. It destroys people extremely fast. Its Play Rough is like a tracking move that just never goes away and is doing nasty damage to you. I mean, is it more broken than Azumarill's Play Rough? Maybe not, especially with Whirlpool. But, like, Mimikyu being able to just hunt you down from across the map and then just delete you with either Shadow Claw or Play Rough, they're both disgusting. And then its Unite move, just smothering you, even if you manage to survive, you know the whole team is going to be on you in seconds. So, Mimikyu's definitely S tier right now. Scizor is interesting. I think Scizor is B tier. Maybe A tier. I don't know. It's really, really close to A tier. I know I said I wasn't organizing, but Scizor is definitely close to it. It's really high B tier. Just because it's just still not disgustingly broken as I was hoping it would be. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I might sound insane, but I think Bullet Punch needs buffs. I think it needs a cooldown reduce buff, because whenever you use it, it like the timer lowers, but I think it needs to be more low. Like, I want flurries of bullet punches flying around everywhere. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm like wishing for the apocalypse or something. But Zarina is probably B tier. It's pretty good, but even because I'm a pretty high skill, I would say I'm a high skills arena player. It's good. It's just not all the way there. I know I'm gonna say that like so many times in this video. Zarina's alright. I mean, I played Dropkick Stomp on it. It feels pretty good, but it's just a little bit too squishy, especially for something that takes so long to get to its full potential. C tier on Tyranitar. It's really, really powerful, but at the same time, it's like not. Like, I don't really know how to explain T-Tar to somebody. It's just the definition of like a alright Pokemon. Wicked Blow Urshifu, or I guess Single Strike. Wicked Blow, I mean, it's the same thing basically, but it's probably B tier. It's probably B tier, but I want to say it's C tier, but I'm going to put it in B tier because that's where I think it fits best. It's really powerful. It's just like also really bad. It's kind of like where all the other B tier Pokemon are. B tier is kind of just like the outcasted tier. Sorry, B tier. Then there's Rapid Strike Urshifu. I personally think it's F tier. It needs some help. I honestly feel so bad for the Urshifu players just because Urshifu is just not looking so good. And you can say whatever you want to me, but I'm going to be genuinely honest with you. I want Surging Strikes to get like the nastiest buff ever. I want it to be like the top of S tier. I want Urshifu, Surging Strikes Urshifu to be the best Pokemon in the game. I want it to have its own meta where it just one-shots everything. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think that would be really sick. Then there's Ninetales. Ninetales is sitting at a B tier right now. Ninetales is pretty good. It's just not the best. I mean, it's got stuns, it's got damage, being able to like trap people in Avalanche and then hit them into that wall with Blizzard while Avalanche is chipping at them is pretty broken, but at the same time, it's just not broken enough. So I think it's a solid B tier. Chandelure is probably an A tier. Its damage is pretty good. It's like it can steal and secure objectives really well. It can just kind of delete people from afar. I think it's a solid A tier. Same with Cinderace. It's good at securing objectives. It's good at taking out players. Its Pyro Ball is insanely strong. But at the same time, I feel like it's just not that good. It's like good, but it's not that good, if that makes any sense. Cramorant's probably a B tier right now. I'd like to put him in A tier, but he's just not quite an A tier Pokemon. He's really, really powerful though. Like Dive and I think it's Hurricane. Really powerful moves. Especially Cram's Unite move is really good. But the problem with it is its damage is really inconsistent, especially as a mage inside the game. It's just not all the way there. Kind of same with Decidueye. It's like the Inteleon. It's Inteleon before Inteleon came out, and Inteleon just took its spot. It's a solid B tier, and its auto attacks are insanely annoying. Delphox is an A tier Pokemon right now. I think it's really good. It has stuns. It can stun you with Fire Spin and then use Fire Blast to just kind of destroy you. Its Unite move can basically steal any objective while chipping away at people. It's a pretty broken Pokemon overall, and most of its moves are good. I feel like almost every move it has is good. But obviously, Fire Blast, Fire Spin is just the best. Next up, we have Dragapult. Dragapult is interesting. I feel like it's an A tier Pokemon, but it's looked at as a B tier Pokemon. I think in general, it's an A tier. It was really bad, and then it got buffed, and people started playing it for like a week, and then it just kind of fell off. Now, there are still like people that play Dragapult, probably the Dragapult mains. But I think it's an A tier Pokemon. It's really, really powerful. People just don't play it. Duraludon is probably an F tier Pokemon. Duraludon has been an F tier Pokemon for a really long time. And the devs have done absolutely nothing about it. It deserves to be a lot more broken than it is. Espeon is probably an S tier. May not no Espeon's an A tier. It's broken, and that's about it. It's just like it's broken, but not on this level. Like S tier Pokemon are like the nasty Pokemon, like the Pokemon that are just absolutely disgustingly overpowered. And then the A tiers are like the yeah, we're good, but we're not that good. Gardevoir is probably a B tier Pokemon right now. It's okay, but I feel like its kit is just kind of weird. Its Unite move is absolutely obnoxious though, so I guess there's that, but I think it's probably a solid B tier. Trying to speed this up a little bit. I mean, we only have 2 rows left, but I don't know how long this has been going. Let's see. Yeah, I've been doing this for 20 minutes. Alright, so next up we have Glaceon. Glaceon is probably S tier right now. Even after the nerfs, it just does not care. It seems like no matter what, that short hit move that does so much damage is just continuing to destroy the meta, and it probably will continue to do that for a very long time. Icy Wind is also really powerful. People just don't use it because it takes skill. Now we have Greninja. Greninja honestly is C tier. I would love for Greninja to be higher. I am a pretty big Greninja fan, and I feel like a lot of people are. But Greninja is just, he's not that good. I mean, Water Shuriken is alright, but it still sucks, and Surf is... I personally really like Surf. I like Surf more than Water Shuriken, but I feel like people just don't play it because they don't like it, but I like it. Smokescreen kind of sucks, though. Double Team is meh. I mean, everything about Greninja is just kind of meh. Intelligent is an easy S tier. Its Snipe Shot, even with the nerfs, just does so much damage. Its Liquidation was really overpowered for like 2 weeks before they were like, hey, hold on, this is a little bit too broken. Its Unite move, giving a buff to its auto attacks, and being able to see people hiding in bushes and stuff. It's just early game securing even is insane. With its water gun, you can steal like any farm, you can even steal objectives. And Fellstinger, like having so much range, being able to just teleport around, it's really, really good. Next up is Mew. I personally think Mew is S tier. Being able to switch between so many kits, it's like Blaziken, but like better. You can, what moves can you get on Mew? You can get Light Screen, Electro Ball, Surf, Solar Beam. I don't know. I don't have Mew, but I have played Mew, like in training areas and stuff. Mew is really, really good. I like Mew. Next up, we have Pikachu. Pikachu's a solid A tier right now. I think he fits in A tier. His Volt Tackle Electro Ball is absolutely disgusting, and it got buffed for whatever reason. It's probably just a solid A tier. I would go to say Sylveon is an S tier Pokemon. Its Hyper Voice is really, really powerful, especially with X speed. You can just chase people around with that Hyper Voice. And then Calm Mind is broken, Draining Kiss is broken, Mystical Fire is broken, its Unite move is broken. It's just a really powerful Pokemon. Would I say it needs nerfs? Not really, though. I mean, it's maybe a little tiny bit to Hyper Voice, maybe like the HP recovery, maybe the damage, but right now I think Sylveon just fits pretty well. Venusaur, A tier. It's okay. It's just like not that good. It's like if you're gonna play Venusaur, you might as well just play Mew. Because like the only like amazing thing on Venusaur is its Solar Beam, and Mew can just get Solar Beam. So I don't know. It's okay. Petal Dance is kind of broken. It's like Azu's Whirlpool though. Like I feel like Venusaur just inspired so many other Pokemon, but I think Venusaur is still a solid A tier. Blastoise, easy S tier. It needs to be nerfed. It's a monster. It destroys like anything it gets into the slightest conflict with. All of its moves are good. Like every single one. They all work well together. I prefer to play Rapid Spin, Hydro Pump. because it's just my favorite build. I think it does pretty well. But yeah. Anyways, we're in the defenders now. I never even mentioned that we were in the attackers. I just threw Ninetales up there. But here we go. We have some defenders now. We have Crustle. Crustle is S tier. If you know, you know. I mean, the Stone Edge with the X Scissor. If you've watched any tournament or any professional match of Pokemon Unite, you know why Crustle's S tier. Gudra is a solid A tier. It's alright, but I feel like it's just not that good. It's okay in like most casual matches, but if you were to bring it into like a master rank game, I feel like it just doesn't do as well as it would in an ultra game or a veteran class game. Greedent is probably F tier. Usually I would put it in C, but thinking more and more about it, Greedent's just kind of bad. Then we have Lapras. Lapras is an A tier. It's an A tier. It's got like some AoB damage, you know, with I don't know what it is. I think it's Water Pulse, and then Ice Beam is pretty good. Its Unite move is fun. It's like Hoopa's, but not as good. It's just a solid A tier overall. Mamoswine I think is a B tier. It has a lot of stuns, but I feel like that's about it. Like it can just stun you until you die, but other than that, it doesn't really do anything. Just put a full heal on and it can't really even hurt you. Next up we have Slowbro. Slowbro's an A tier. Really close to S, but I feel like it's just not an S tier Pokemon. It's close, but it's not, if that makes any sense at all. It's okay, it's just its damage isn't that good. You have to have like a pretty specific team comp to play Slowbro effectively. Right now, I think Snorlax is a B tier, and I feel like a lot of people don't really like Snorlax or don't really play Snorlax. I would love to play Snorlax. The only problem is I suck at it, and maybe I just suck, or maybe Snorlax just sucks. But I don't know. Yawn is pretty busted, but again, it's like one of those moves that if the person you're using it on has a full heal, like it's pointless. So I think Snorlax is solid B tier. I would love to see it get some buffs to like Flail or Block maybe. I don't really know how you would buff Block, but next up we have Trevenant. Trevenant is an S tier. It's one of those Pokemon that if you've seen it in a tournament or a professional match, or even if you just played as it or against it, you know what? Screw it. Trevenant, if you see Trevenant at all, you know why it's S tier, and it is S tier. It's really, really, really busted. Umbreon I feel like is really S tier, but I think now it's B tier or A tier. It used to be really, really powerful, especially with its Mean Look. I personally never really played Mean Look, so I don't really know. But it's okay. I think Foul Play Snarl is just the way to go with Umbreon, and I think it always has been. Maybe if you're playing against with a professional team, you know, then I would definitely play Mean Look, because like you can shut down the Pokemon like Buzzwole or Mimikyu, Inteleon. But yeah, I think it's a solid A tier right now. Absol I think is also an A tier, and we're in the Speedsters now. I'm excited. I love the Speedsters, and I have everyone except Dotrio, but I do play Dotrio a lot in custom matches. So Absol is an A tier. Its Pursuit is good. Its Night Slash is alright. Its Psycho Cut is good. Its Sucker Punch is good. If you combine Pursuit with Next Attack, you can almost one-shot everything. Problem is, it's really, really squishy. So you can get a lot of damage, but you gotta get a lot of damage really fast, which is good because Pursuit's cooldown is like freakishly low. I think it's A tier, not really S tier, and if you'll look at the S tier, these are mostly Pokemon you would see in an actual professional game of Pokemon Unite. So that's kind of what the S tier is like, is it good enough to bring into a tournament? And a lot of the A tier Pokemon, even some of the B tier Pokemon, might be able to do that too. These are just the Pokemon you're going to see the most. And these are the Pokemon that are the best inside the competitive meta. Next up we have Dotrio. A tier for Dotrio. It's pretty broken. It's just like not super duper broken. I would like to see Drill Peck maybe get a little bit of buffs. And maybe Jump Kick. Its tri-attack is really good. It's kind of ranged, though, which is weird on a speedster, but I guess it kind of works. So yeah. Speaking of weird ranged speedsters, we have Gengar. Currently, I feel like Gengar is not good. I would love to love Gengar with every bit of love for speedsters I have, but he does not feel like a speedster. He feels like a mage, and that's just kind of weird to me, especially like as a speedster main, like because mages and speedsters are extremely different playstyles, and like the best build he has is like Dream Eater Shadow Ball, which is extremely ranged. So I don't know. Gengar's like not super good. His damage is kind of inconsistent. Ew. And I don't know. He's all right. He's just like not amazing. Next up is Leafeon. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, I get a really good feeling like Leafeon is gonna get nerfed. Well, I guess that's not even a good feeling. It's a bad feeling. I would love for Leafeon to be. I just hit my hand on the table, by the way. That's what that sound was. But Leafeon hopefully does not get nerfed. I mean, actually, hopefully it does get nerfed, but like not too much because I like Leafeon. It's one of my favorite Pokemon in the game right now. But yeah, it's probably gonna get nerfed. We have Meowscarada. Meowscarada is probably S tier, but I want to say it's A tier. It's really, really good, but it's also really, really bad. Like, it's got two builds. Either you can rely on being a coward with Flower Trick and Double Team, and doing damage that way, which isn't necessarily bad. When I say coward, I don't mean like bad, I mean like Sableye. But like, well, okay, that's not a good example. It's not bad. It's just like I don't personally like it. And then you have Trailblaze Night Slash, which is where you focus on auto attacks mostly, and just deleting things, which is super fun. But at the same time, it doesn't work a lot of the time. Next up, there's Scyther. I'd say Scyther's a safe S tier right now. Yeah, I'd say, yeah, it's S tier. I'd say it's S tier. It's got a lot of, dashes, which makes it obviously the speedster that it is, and I love that. I think he feels the most speedsterish out of all of the speedsters. Because, like, when you think speedsters, you're thinking of constant dashing, constant damage. That's what Scyther is, and I absolutely love that. Especially after the buffs. After the buffs, Scyther was just so much more broken than Scizor. Currently, Talonflame, I think, is sitting at a good B tier. It's pretty good at doing things like, whoa, voice crack. It's pretty good at doing things like stealing objectives, and like its Unite move can push people away from their goal zone. You can push like Regieleki in that way and stuff. But at the same time, I feel like that's about all it's really good for. I mean, not necessarily, because I do really, really like Talonflame. But it's not even that it needs buffs, it's just genuinely a B tier Pokemon. And B tier Pokemon, I mean, look at the B tier Pokemon. They're not that bad. So he's not an outcast like the CNF tiers. But he's like just not all the way there. Zeraora currently I think is maybe an A tier. Nah, never mind, it's a B tier. It's really, really good, but it's just not that good. It's like it has that like AoE constant damaging move, but it's also like kind of bad. And then its Volt Switch is similar to Zoroark's Feint Attack, but again, just not as good. So Zeraora is definitely good, especially with. I personally hate Spark. I think it's a bad move. Wild Charge is okay. It's like Mimikyu's Play Rough, but like not as much damage. And I'm pretty sure you can get killed while doing it. So I don't know. Zeraora is a safe B tier. I don't like its Unite move either. Next up, and last but definitely not least, we have Zoroark. It's an easy S tier Pokemon. Zoroark is my main, so maybe I'm just being a little bit biased, a little bit, but I feel like it's probably even higher than S tier. It's like a relatively high skill Pokemon, and it's also like a very high reward Pokemon. Like, if you're good with Zoroark, you're really good with Zoroark. But if you, like, are even anything less than that, you suck. I'm gonna be honest. So yeah, there it is. There's my Season 18 tier list. Headed into Season 19 here pretty soon. Really excited, especially for the Umbreon Battle Pass and for Mew's new follower, which is so cute. I really like that Battle Pass, and I'm definitely going to pick it up because I'm very excited for it. So yeah, here's my tier list. The EX Pokemon don't count because they're too good. But if I had to rank them anywhere, I'd say the Zacian is A tier, Mewtwo Y is S tier, Miraidon is A tier, and Mewtwo X is A tier. So obviously they're not super broken, but at the same time they're like super broken. So they can go back to the EX tier where they belong. But yeah, here is my Season 18 tier list. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and hopefully you actually watched the whole thing to the very end, because that's genuinely impressive. Oh, I just closed it. Reveal my Attack on Titan background. So, yeah, thank